evening, guys. Billy D here. Welcome to North American Sports Report on Monday, April 6th at 8:28 Eastern Time in New England here in Connecticut. April 6, 2026. We are getting you ready for the national championship game as the UCONN Huskies, my home state's beloved UCONN Huskies, versus the Michigan Wolverines. So how did we get here? Well, how we got here was UCONN again continues to, they just continue to overcome injuries, odds, for once not being the heavy favorite where they stormtrooped through the entire playoff. Underdogs against Duke, come back from 19 points down, dealing with some injuries. Obviously, Solo Ball hurt his foot. He's got a boot on his foot, a sprained foot, which he did injure early in the Illinois game, but played through it. He said adrenaline got him through it and didn't really notice how badly he was hurt until after. He is a go tonight, but he will not be at 100%. But UConn takes down Illinois 71-62. They were slight underdogs in that game, larger underdogs against Duke. Obviously, they won them both. They were led by Terrace Reed, who has been the best player for UConn in this entire tournament, if not season. Terrace Reed led them as he did against Duke with 26. He led them against Illinois with 17 points. Solo Ball 13. Braylon Mullins 15. Braylon Mullins with the legendary three-point shot for victory over Duke, which will be remembered forever. Has been solid as well in the guard position for UConn. Reed, Ball, and Mullins led the squad in their victory over Illinois. Again, Terrace Reed, the high scorer. He has been, to me, the overall most consistent player for the UConn Huskies. On the other side, the Wolverines slaughtered Arizona. Arizona was my pick to get into the Natty. I did have Arizona in my Final Four as well as Michigan. Of course, we went over this. After nailing 12 of the Sweet 16, I ended up with 2 of my Final Four teams present. I did have Florida in there, and I did have Duke in there as well, and we know what happened to those squads. So tonight we have Michigan and UConn. Now, the spread has been jumping between 6.5 and 7.5, and it is at 6.5 right now. It was 6.5 early, then it jumped to 7.5. Now it's jumped back to 6.5. Michigan is a 6.5 point favorite. We are 25 minutes away from tip-off. The official tip is 8:50, I'm sorry, so we are now 20 minutes away from tip-off. Michigan, 91-73 domination over Arizona. It wasn't even that close, led by their big 7-foot center, Damara, who had 26. Their very awesome forward, Yaxel Lindborg, will be also dealing with an injury. The Huskies have Solo Ball playing hurt. Lindborg is dealing with a couple of lower body injuries. I'm hearing ankle and knee. He did not play at full strength, only with 11 points against Arizona. Obviously, they didn't need him much. Mara had a huge game with 26. Cadeau, their fine guard, Elliot Cadeau, had 13. Trey McKinney, who's averaged 10 points a game off the bench this season, had 16 off the bench in this one as they rolled. And Michigan has, listen, they've blown out Illinois, they've blown out Arizona, they blew out Gonzaga this year. They have looked like they are a team on a mission. Obviously, they're the heavy favorite tonight, but listen, you can never, ever, ever count this UConn team out. I've learned my lesson. I'm not betting against Danny Hurley. I got to see the knife. I got to see the stake go through his heart to see UConn dead. I got to see that because all logic tells you that Michigan should win tonight, and I don't want to say whoop them. They are a 6.5 point favorite. They're the better team, but you know what? Duke was the better team too, and we saw how that shook out. Listen, the Husky program is about winning championships. They're not just happy to be here. This is their standard that they have set. They've won 6 championships, in the last 15 years or 20 years, whatever. They've won 6 titles: 3 with Calhoun, 1 with Ollie, 2 with Hurley, and now Hurley has them in their 3rd championship in 4 years. They've set the standard. The last 20 years, the UConn Huskies have replaced the old guard of Duke and Kentucky and whoever. North Carolina, well, that's long gone. They've got their own struggles. As we know, they released head coach Hubert Davis, and they're rebuilding. They're not the North Carolina Tar Heels that we remember, but you're used to the powerhouses. Well, actually, growing up, I was always Duke. Seemed like Krzyzewski and Duke. UConn is the standard in college basketball, and they have been for the last 15 to 20 years. 6 championships, constant deep runs in the tournament, and listen, to kill the king, you got to leave no doubt, and we shall see. So we have an 8:49 tip. The hotline is 203-451-3379. We got some people. That are asking me my pick for the evening on the line. I'm never putting my money against UConn again. These suckers have burned me too many times. It's no secret that I'm not a huge fan of my home state's favorite team, but I'm not betting against them. I'll say Michigan tonight. I'll take Michigan to win the game. I wouldn't lay the point spread. I think, let's see, what's the money line? Oh boy, money line's steep. 285. Boy, that's a good money line bet. UConn is plus 230 on the money line. And Michigan is minus 285 money line. Would I lay down $100, a 285 to win $100? No. I do think Michigan's going to win in a tight game. That's my prediction for tonight. So that'll answer the chat line. So tonight, 8:49, we're going to get off of here before that starts. I do quickly want to go around to the NHL because we've got some heavy stuff going on here as we're coming down the stretch, and a lot of things are up for grabs still in the playoff scenarios. Also news locally, the New York Islanders fired Coach Patrick Roy. He is out in Long Island, and listen, 4 games left, a little surprising, but I don't disagree with it. I love Pete DeBoer, who they have hired. He's had great success as a coach. Listen, he's never won the cup. He's been there. He's been to conference finals. He just has, he was there with the Devils in 2012. He had the Dallas Stars in the conference finals a couple times. He just couldn't quite get over the hump. Remember, they lost in Game 7, and then he was let go to Edmonton 1 year. Listen, DeBoer's a good coach. He's a proven winner. And I think it's a good move for the Islanders. Now, will it be enough with 4 games left? The Islanders have had a rough schedule down the stretch, but they had a stretch where 10 of their final 12 games are at home. And they've lost 4 in a row, and they've looked bad doing it. I have seen more odd man rushes from a porous defense and defensive breakdowns. The Islanders give up goals via breakaway, 2-on-1, 3-on-1. It's just, it's unacceptable, and that's what cost Roy his job. Will they be able to, let's take a look at this team. Will they be able to fare well in these last 4 games and find their way into the playoffs? I don't know. They've got a tough schedule. They just came off losses to Buffalo and Carolina, and they were hard-fought games that they just couldn't get it done. Let's take a look at the Islanders' schedule right now and see what they got left. I know all 4 games are at home. They don't play till Thursday, and they play Ottawa, and all the games are against, teams that they've got to jump over. So, listen, they just lost to the Flyers. They just lost to the Hurricanes. They just lost to Buffalo. And let's see, where did that streak start with? Their 4-game losing streak. Penguins, which I was at that game, after defeating a depleted Florida Panther team, the Florida Panthers, defending Cup champions, 2-time Cup, 3-time Eastern Conference champions, will not be in the dance this year. That opens up windows for lots of teams. And for those that want to know why and how that happened, it's pretty simple. The Florida Panthers sustained more injuries than I do believe any team in NHL history this year. At one point, 15 of 18 members of the Panthers starting lineup, which is 18 guys, all forwards and defensemen included, were out injured. There were times where they were playing with 10 guys out of the lineup. And guys not just missing a week here and there. Guys like Marchand and Luosterainen, and then Lindell breaks his ribs, and Seth Jones and Kulikov on defense, big-time defenseman. Obviously, Barkov, who could have been back, but they decided not to bring him back because there was no sense in it. But he would have been ready for a playoff run. He was practicing with the team. You know that Tkachuk wasn't back until New Year's. I mean, it went on and on and on and on, the amount of injuries. And they just kept piling up one after the other after the other. Then Ekblad breaks his hand and Rodriguez breaks a finger. The Panthers were just depleted. There's no reason to think that they won't be back right in the midst of it next year when healthy. But the Tampa Bay Lightning, first place in the Atlantic, their nemesis is no longer there. And listen, there's other teams that have risen in the mix now. The Buffalo Sabres clinch a playoff spot for the first time in 14 years, and what a great story they have been with Tage Thompson and Alex Tuch and Rasmus Dahlin. Very exciting to see the Sabres back in it. They have slumped a little of late. They were in first place. They have relinquished that. They have now dropped to third, tied actually with the Montreal Canadiens with 100 points at second and third, as the Lightning have slipped back into first place in the Atlantic. So back to the Islanders. The Islanders' last 4 games. They have lost 4 games in a row, which we just went over. They play the Maple Leafs Thursday night. You got to win that one. Then they have the Senators, Canadiens, Hurricanes. 3 tough games. Senators fighting for their playoff lives. They are currently in the final spot. Canadiens fighting for a number 1 seed and home ice throughout. And the Hurricanes, who've wrapped up the Metropolitan, but they could be overall seeding. All those teams should play hard. And the Islanders may need all 4 of those games. Let's take a look at the standings, shall we? Just to give you the exact picture of where we're at. So, and we got some games going on tonight. But I want to get out of here before the national championship starts. So, in the Eastern Conference, the Tampa Bay Lightning have 102 points. They have 6 games left to play. They are 2 points ahead of the Buffalo Sabres and the Montreal Canadiens, both with 100 points. That's your top 3 in the Atlantic. Currently, right now, the Sabres and the Lightning are playing in Buffalo. Buffalo is ahead 3-2 with 4 minutes left in the second period. Other games tonight, the Kraken and the Jets 1-1. Winnipeg with a very thin chance on the outside. That's really not a playoff. That's not a game with playoff implications. The Blackhawks and the Sharks play later. The Sharks are still only a couple points out of the final spot in the West. And the big game tonight, and the last of the 4 games tonight, the Kings and Predators currently tied for the last wild card spot in the West with 81 points. So let's look at those standings. In the Atlantic, as we just said, the Lightning first. The Sabres and Canadiens are second and third with 100 points. The Metropolitan has the Hurricanes in first. The red-hot Pittsburgh Penguins, 96 points in second, but still the Hurricanes with the best record in the Eastern Conference, 8 points up. They've wrapped up the Metropolitan. It's just about overall home ice in the Eastern Conference now. So it's the Hurricanes, Penguins, and the Philadelphia Flyers who have zipped past the Jackets and the Islanders into third. So that's your top three in the Atlantic: Lightning, Sabres, Canadians, and your top three in the Metropolitan: Hurricanes, Penguins, Flyers. Your wild cards currently are the Boston Bruins with 95 points and the Ottawa Senators with 90 points. Right behind, the New York Islanders with 89 and the Red Wings and the Blue Jackets with 88 points. All those latter three teams had playoff spots, were in position for much of the season. The Blue Jackets, of course, they made the late run and actually surpassed the Islanders and Red Wings at one point. Right now, the Jackets are 1 point behind the Islanders, as are the Red Wings, 1 point behind the Islanders. The Islanders are currently 1 point out of the final playoff spot, and they will get the chance. They will get that chance because they've got 4 games left, and they will play Ottawa. And some of these teams play each other. But listen, tough schedule. Montreal, Ottawa, Carolina. Got to win the Toronto game. If you don't win the Toronto game Thursday night, your goose is cooked. Okay, Western Conference. Avalanche, Stars, Wild. That's your top three. Stars and Wild are still jockeying for who's going to get home ice in that first round, the 2-3 matchup. Avalanche, 110 points. They've wrapped up the Central. The Stars with 102, the Wild with 100. In the Pacific, the Oilers have now surpassed the Anaheim Ducks via percentage points. Both teams with 87 points. Oilers, Ducks, and the Golden Knights with 86 points in third. The Golden Knights, who fired their head coach Cassidy, who was a Stanley Cup winner, they replace him with John Tortorella, and they go 3-0. And that is the same type of thing the Islanders are looking for. I think they saw Vegas shake things up and immediately win 3 straight games and stop the bleeding, and I think the Islanders are hoping for the same kind of result. So the first place in the Pacific's up for grabs. Obviously, the Pacific is one of the lesser divisions in the league this year. Now, your wild cards are the Utah Mammoth with 86 points, and the Predators and Kings are tied for that final spot, and they play tonight with 81 points. They're tied for that final spot, and they play tonight, 81 points. The Sharks are the only other team in the mix. They are 2 points out. Well, actually, the Jets and the Blues are 3 points out, 1 point behind the Sharks. They have 6 games to play. They're 3 points behind Nashville and LA. The Sharks have 7 games to play. They are 2 points behind Nashville and LA, who are battling it out for the final wild card spot tonight. I do believe, let's see here. Who's got the tiebreaker? The Predators have the tiebreaker, so technically they have the last playoff spot right now. But they are playing tonight at 10:30 from Staples Center in Los Angeles. So also a big game for the Sharks, who are 2 points behind. They will play at 10 o'clock, and they will host the Blackhawks tonight. That's what we're looking at in the NHL. Those are your playoff races. We'll see how the Islanders respond to their new coach, Pete DeBoer. You guys are all ready. We've given you the injury reports, obviously, tonight for the National Championship, UConn Huskies, Michigan Wolverines. Solo Ball will be playing. He's going to be fighting through a sprained foot. Yaxel Lendenborg, the very talented forward for Michigan, will be dealing with a couple of lower body injuries that he's going to play through as well. And we shall see. When healthy, I would think Michigan would be tough to beat tonight. I'm picking Michigan to win this game. I'm not sure they're going to cover the 6.5, but I'm picking them to win the game outright. Let's see, has the spread changed? Nope, still 6.5. Well, we're going to say goodnight, guys. Your tip-off is moments away. Enjoy the national championship tonight. Enjoy the national championship tonight. My name is Billy DiNapoli. Please subscribe to the North American Sports Report and follow me, Billy DiNapoli, on Facebook and Instagram. Enjoy the Natty tonight, guys. I will be on Wednesday. We'll be back Wednesday at 6 o'clock. We're going to preview the Frozen Four in the NCAA and see where we are in the hockey standings. And we'll get you set up for the